Hey everybody, it's Natalie from Power Moon Tarot. Welcome to your reading. Today's reading is a reading about the crow spirit, and I've been wanting to do this reading for a while, so I'm excited to do that for you. We have 3 piles to choose from. I'm going to read a little bit about what I wrote down about crow spirit, but if you want to just go directly to your pile and get your messages, you're more than welcome to do that. Pile number 1 is represented by the green tea light. Pile number 2 is the black tea light, and pile number 3 is the white tea light. And there'll be links in the description box below to each pile. But for those of you who'd like to stick around and hear a little bit about crow spirits, I will go ahead and go into it for you. So, crow spirit, a clever, mysterious agent of transformation. So crows live on every continent except for Antarctica. Crows are clever, intelligent, they're adaptable, and they're up there with elephants, primates, and dolphins as far as intelligence level. They have a high level of neurons in their brains. They actually have been known to make tools and then use those tools to forage for food. They have strong memories, ability to recognize faces, and ability to recognize nonverbal communication. They leverage, crows will also leverage their smarts or their wits in order to solve problems. And when we're talking about crow spirit, we can talk about how at times we need to step back, take a deep breath, and look at problems from a different perspective instead of getting over emotional about things. Crows have the uncanny ability to survive, and when we have crow spirit around us, we just want to make sure any sudden upheavals or other people's drama is not ruffling us. And when we're resisting crow spirit, we may be resisting change or living in denial. So we want to be open and adaptable. And for those of you that know, a large group of crows is called a murder of crows. And crows in many different spiritual traditions were looked at as a spiritual bridge between the spiritual world and the material world. And oftentimes crows are present during death and dying. For example, in Germany, Germans saw souls of the damned walking around in the crow. And some people believe that when crows were around you, your ancestors were around you and they were speaking to you. Crow spirit has been associated with psychic abilities, and also the crow is the holder of universal wisdom and is associated with Saturn. And I will explain a little bit about why that is. And for all of you who are familiar with the art of divination through birds and the way that birds travel and the direction that birds are going, crows were oftentimes used as a way to do like basically bird divination back in the day, before there was like tarot or anything like that. The Romans used to use the direction of the crows flying in order to interpret omens and meanings from that. Also, the Celtic goddess, the Morgan, is associated with the crow spirit, and she's been known to shapeshift into a crow and then fly over the battlefields and do her stuff. When we see crow spirit, we can talk about, like I said, messages from ancestors. We can also talk about the crone and wisdom. Crows understand having impulse control, and crows can also mimic their owner's voices. They can count out loud up to the number 7, which is crazy. And there was this experiment where they took crows and they tried to figure out, like, can they delay their impulse control of food if they know they're going to get a bigger reward? And they found out in these scientific experiments that they could do that these crows could do this. Crows can mimic their owner's voices. They are inventive pranksters. They like to stick tools into like small holes in order to forage for food. Crows, though, had a bad reputation for a long time for damaging crops, although that's been a little bit debunked in the fact that they're not quite as damaging maybe as we thought. And they can tell if a person is mean, and they can hold a grudge against that human person if that person is mean. I thought that was funny too. Crow energy is opportunistic, and creative. Now, a little bit, crows are also, like I said, highly misunderstood bird that's actually very hardy, resilient, and can adjust to surroundings very easily. And in Jyotish, Vedic astrology, Shani or Saturn rides a crow. So the crow is the vehicle of Saturn. And in Vedic astrology tradition, feeding the crows could actually be seen as a Saturn remedy. So if you have a Saturn in your chart you have a tough Saturn in your chart, or you're having a Saturn transit, it's with your moon, it's going over your ascendant, it's conjuncting your sun. There's these, of course, ways that we can remedies in order to help us appease the gods or appease the planets. And one of those ways to appease Saturn was to feed the crows. And that was looked at as a Saturn remedy. And Saturn, of course, brings long-term stability and focus, allows us to work in long periods of isolation to reach something of value. And there's also in India, there's I think it's a ritual, or it's basically honoring your departed loved ones, your departed ancestors, by feeding the crows. There's a ritual, I think. It starts with an S. I can't think of the name right now. But anyway, that is there too. And the crow spirit and Saturn by association can represent the force and weight of darkness. Crow energy supports our ability to get into contact with our shadow, to bring out our blind spots, and also protects the slow tantric rhythm of the feminine and punishes if not obeyed. Okay, so that is very interesting. I was reading an online article about Saturn and the crow, and how the crow has always been associated with Saturn. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and find out what this clever, mysterious, and misunderstood bird is going to bring you today. Let's go ahead and get into the readings. That was short and sweet. I just wanted to give you guys a little taste there, and we will go ahead and get into it. Okay, let's go ahead and move aside pile number 2 and pile number 3, and we will start with pile number 1. All right, my darlings, let's go ahead and get into it. Pile number 1, welcome to your reading. You chose the green tea light, and today's reading is a message from Crow Spirit, a very misunderstood, yet mysterious, yet transformative, yet beautiful bird for us today to look at. Of course, I did a little intro on Crow Spirit and the things that Crow Spirit is associated with, such as psychic abilities, adaptability, clever, intelligent, problem solving, wisdom keeper. Okay, so let's go ahead and see for my pile number 1s, please, Spirit. Can you show me Crow Spirit wisdom for my pile number 1s? For my pile number 1s? For my pile number 1s, please, Spirit, can you show me Crow Spirit for pile number 1? Okay. It's so funny, during your guys' reading, I was just thinking about the World card and how I haven't drawn the World card for a while. And because Saturn is associated with the World card, and of course Saturn has to do with crows as well. Oh, the Queen of Swords, of course. Pile number 1, very smart, very intelligent, quick-witted, and helps you cut through the bullshit with the Queen of Swords, okay? And that universal wisdom keeper, very much about that crow energy. So let's see, what message does Crow Spirit have for pile number 1? I mean, first of all, be confident in what you're speaking, what you're saying, what you're writing, and what you're doing, because you're doing it at a high level, I think, pile number 1, and you're doing a good job. We have here, the Page of Air. I love it. Logical, honest, impulsive, and curious. And I mentioned in my intro that crows are actually good with impulse control. And so if we're saying things, if we're saying too much, or we're being really impulsive in our decision making. Crow spirit does help us make wiser, smarter choices where we're not being super impulsive with our decisions. It says challenging information, delays or changes in plans, truth delivered without tact. Okay, and honestly, I love the Queen of Swords because she can deliver the truth with tact. And yeah, so the Queen of Swords is representing the watery part of air. And so she does know how to be intuitive about the way that she's speaking, talking, and going about things, okay? And perhaps Crow Spirit coming through here at first for you, pile number one, and saying, are you being almost too honest about something? Are you, or did you receive information that was very challenging or rude, or perhaps somebody told you something like, hey, I want you to know the truth, but it was very hard to swallow. Let's see what else. We have balance. Oh boy, really coming through with the Libra energy. This is the Justice card. And I love that. Lots of air energy here. Ooh, we have the Lovers and Harmony, the Lovers card. Balance and harmony in the way that we look at our give and take, and the way we look at our relationships with others, not just romantic relationships, but all kinds of relationships, friendships, romance, etc. Am I balanced? Is the flow of information balanced? Is the communication balanced? Is it honest? I mean, honesty is good, but we also have to be careful that we're not being, that we're considering people's feelings and we're not being tactless and all of that. And of course, when I see balance and harmony with Justice and the Lovers, it's like, yeah, very, very tactful and balanced. Let's see what else here. We have the Moon and Perception. Interesting. Ooh, we have the Moon and Pluto. Okay, now a lot of people have said that the Crow energy represents, when you see it, it represents mystery, it represents transformation, it represents death and rebirth, it represents the ancestors, it represents our family history, and the depth of that. Also, when we have Moon Pluto, because the Moon is our emotions, and Pluto, Moon Pluto can be very impulsive, making decisions based on emotions without kind of hearing the other person out. And perhaps some of you are wanting to change the way that you react and respond to situations, and perhaps you're wanting to be honest with others instead of just holding on to your emotions or pushing them down and then blowing up and walking away. For those of you that have Moon Pluto in your astrological charts, this may be very important for you too. And recognizing the truth of your feelings and being able to discuss your feelings with someone without, without like eviscerating the other person, which I think is good, or without just shoving your feelings down, shoving your emotions down. Okay, and I feel like there truly is a depth of feeling, and perhaps some of you, this, because we do have the Moon here, this may have to do with a family situation as well too. And a lot of times when we come from a tough family or we come from a tough environment, we'll go ahead and put a lot of our energy into our romantic relationships, or we'll put a lot of energy to the exclusion of other things, and so the Page of Air is, getting very honest. And what's interesting here is I feel like with this Moon Pluto, I feel like you think that somebody close to you is lying to you, pile number one, or you're not trusting someone, or you don't believe what someone is telling you, okay? And, I feel honesty is very important to you in pile number one. And, although sometimes I feel like your head may play tricks with you a little bit, because you're like, am I perceiving this situation, or am I incorrectly? Am I just being too sensitive? Am I reading into something that isn't there? Am I being paranoid? All right. Am I being too sensitive? And perhaps in the past, you guys got accused of being too sensitive, okay? And, but I also just feel like, let's keep things on track. You know what I'm saying, pile number one? That's definitely an energy that I'm getting in your relationships with, whenever you're talking to people, in your relationships with family, in your relationship with friends, particularly your romantic connections. Let's keep things, let's keep good communication, and let's keep talking to each other, even if we're not, even if we're not seeing eye to eye on something. And I do feel like some of you guys could think that somebody is lying to you. Perhaps you guys have been betrayed a lot in the past. Perhaps you've been cheated on in the past. But I actually feel with this Justice and Lovers card that everything's going to be out in the open. So if you've been waiting for something to come, to hear someone's truth or to speak your truth, I do feel like things are going to be out in the open soon enough here, pile number one. We have the 8 of Wands, okay? Using our energy in a productive way. The Sun, I love it. I love it. That's very dynamic energy. And we have the King of Pentacles, lovely. And then we have, when you guys really focus on something, pile number one, when you guys really get the message on something and you really focus on something, I feel you have the ability to really stick with it and follow it through till completion. And I'm seeing the ladder here too, which makes me think some of you are looking for career progress, or you're looking for financial progress. You're looking for progress when it comes to your goals, okay? And, having healthy partnerships could also be part of your goal, or getting along better with people could also be part of your goals as well too. I actually think it'll help your career. I think it'll help things really take off for you the more honest you are. We have the Fool here. Well, that's exciting. I like that. And and look at this. It's so funny because there's a bird standing right on the Fool's head, and that could easily, it's a white and black bird, but that could easily be like a symbol for a I also just feel like a falcon. Maybe you guys like falcons, but I'm getting that falcon raven type of energy. But also, you would never accuse a crow spirit of being like a bird brain or not being smart enough, because crows and ravens both are some of the most intelligent animals. And I'm seeing the initials H, E, and L, okay? H, E, or L, or the initial EL here. Okay, let me see what else I'm getting. I'm seeing the letter K, okay? And yeah, I like this because crow spirit has to do with being very inventive and solving problems in a very intelligent way. And some of your ideas, I feel, are really taking off, pile number one. We have the 7 of Cups here. So emotionally, I feel like you guys have a lot to sort out emotionally, okay? And there's a lot to sort out emotionally. And, there's some blood on her sword, or her sword, I don't know. Did you guys piss off a Leo, or did you piss off an Aquarius? Because I'm seeing something here with that. Perhaps you have one of those 2 signs in your chart, okay? Challenging information, delays, changes to plans, truth delivered without tact, okay? And nothing could make but you know what? You have to be quick on your feet, and you have to be able to run with things and be quick on your feet. And I feel like you guys are. I feel like there's a lot of great energy for you right now when it comes to getting noticed, when it comes to your career, when it comes to growing your money or growing your finances. Emotionally, you still may feel a little off balance is what I feel, pile number one. And perhaps some of you here with this Page of Swords, like you need to talk about it. or you need to say, hey, I didn't mean to say that way. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I wasn't trying to be mean with what I said. I actually feel this way. I didn't mean to get on your ass about that. I actually, I actually care about you, or I actually trust you, or I actually want what's best for us and what's best for our relationship, whether that be a friendship relationship, a coworker relationship, or family relationship, even to romantic, whatever type of relationship it is. When we have justice and the Lovers, we want to seek harmony, we want to seek balance, we want to seek cooperation, and when you put the Moon with very sensitive Pluto, feelings can get hurt easily. You know what I'm saying? Pile number one, feelings can definitely get hurt, and especially if someone has a very sharp tongue with this Page of Swords, okay? And I feel like Crow Spirit is saying, hey, we are drumming up some really exciting energy for you, giving you some new ideas, helping you to move forward on your goals and your dreams. Perhaps some of you are wanting a promotion, or you're wanting a higher paying job, or you're needing, some of you may be needing somebody's input with what you're doing, or you may need an investment from someone else, or you may need input from someone else as well too. Okay, and I feel like you're not going to have any issues with that. And I feel you guys are very quirky in pile number one. You're very quirky, you're very different. Some of you may have like a really cute shorter haircut with big bright eyes, okay? Very cute energy. You may feel like, Natalie, I'm a hot mess, okay? Like I am a hot mess emotionally, or I'm very mixed up inside, okay? And I feel some of you are like, well, I'm talking to this person, or I'm trying to understand this person, but they're very different from me, and the way they go about things is very different. But I also feel with the Eight of Wands and the Sun, it's very straightforward energy. Like nobody's lying, everybody's on the same page. It's very straightforward energy. And some of you may be wondering, can I trust this person? And I feel like you can, pile number one. If you're like, can I trust this person to help me with this? Can I trust this person? I feel like, yes, you can, okay? I feel like, yes, you can. And I do feel like there's someone that you guys are very excited about right now, pile number one. And perhaps you're not wanting to get overly excited, or you're not wanting to get overly invested in something, but I do feel like keep your wits about you. That's very much a Crow Spirit type of thing, is to keep your wits about you, all right? And to use your wisdom, okay? And to seek, consensus. And because air sign energy with balance and harmony is all about seeking consensus and connections, okay? Are we on the same page? Do we want the same things? But I honestly feel like you guys are really excited about somebody right now. Pile number one, are you guys really excited about talking to someone, getting to know someone? Are you really excited about teaming up with someone on a particular idea? Perhaps some of you are needing an investor in something you're working on, and hell yeah, pile number one, hell yeah. I feel somebody coming into your space and bringing brand new, exciting, fun energy your way, okay? And it's like, perhaps you're like, well, I don't want to make some of the same mistakes I did in the past. I don't want to be a hot mess. I don't want to be paranoid about this connection. And with this Page of Air, I'm also getting the energy of a therapist for some of you guys here. Some of you, this Queen of Swords, perhaps some of you work in mental health, or perhaps some of you do talk to a therapist or see a therapist. But it's always good to run things. If you think you're being very intense emotionally and you're not being very balanced about something, look at that cleanse. Then step away from the situation and, wait for the moment to pass and then have that conversation. Okay, and can you show me a little bit more on this Moon Pluto right here, Spirit? Can you show me a little bit more on the Moon Pluto, please? Can you show me a little bit more on, Moon Pluto is very intense emotionally, and it can be hard to keep our head on straight when our emotions get involved. But Crow Spirit definitely has to do with that wisdom that I mentioned during my intro. If you feel yourself getting too emotional, step back, take a deep breath, and look at problems from a different perspective, okay? What do we both want here? And what can we get on the same page about? What can we get excited about together, okay? And let me see here, because I wanna see, can you tell me a little bit more, Spirit, about this Moon Pluto for pile number 1, please? Moon Pluto, very Crow energy. Very, very much so. And Crow energy helping us deal with those shadows and emotional pain from the past of feeling abandoned, okay? Energy, I like that. That's here with this 8 of Wands and the Sun, energy, okay? And perhaps some of you are really wanting to get your energy and your vitality back as well too. Moon Pluto, death, okay? Caution, okay? And anxiety. Oh. Okay. And some of you guys may be hearing some information, gossip, rumor about somebody you like, or you heard something from someone, and I feel you may get a little bit intense about stuff. Pile number 1, like we said, and this can be where you call on Crow Spirit to help you kind of talk out some of those energies. Perhaps talking with a friend would be helpful before going to that person. But, with the Moon Pluto, yes, definitely. Anxiety, death, caution, anxiety. So when we get into those moments where we feel like we're going to lose something, or we feel like our emotions are getting out of control, and we're spinning out of control, and we're about to say something that we shouldn't say, or we're about to do something that we don't want to do. Those moments, and you can feel those moments because you can feel a lot of that overreaction does come from a place of anxiety, and possibly from abandonment and emotional abandonment. And perhaps some of you came from a family where things were very emotionally abandoning, and so you learn to react in this very abrupt or very intense manner to things. But I also think a lot of you here are working on talking things out and being more logical. And I love that because, Crow Spirit is all about problem solving, and it's all about how can we talk about things in a way where how can we communicate in a way that doesn't trigger all of this emotional stuff, because if you guys have been feeling very uneasy about messages or something that you've been hearing, before you kind of act on those feelings, I feel like Crow Spirit is saying, take a step back and really, take a step back and look at it with a fresh perspective. And, part is sometimes about getting to know new people or getting on the same page with someone else is tolerating being in those moments without going overboard, but tolerating those moments of oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna vomit, if we're able to kind of work through the discomfort and work through the emotions of it, then we can get to a place where it really we really feel empowered. And I love that with the 8 of Wands and the Sun. And look at that Sun inside of the 8 of Wands. Your passion powers your mission and gives you energy. And, here's the thing, pile number 1. I think a lot of people wouldn't even guess sometimes that you're dealing with all this emotional stuff underneath the surface, because I feel some of you, you're very inventive. You're very, when you're out there doing the things that you're passionate about and the things that you love, you're very confident, and you have the ability to be very confident. But when it comes to your emotions, that's when things may get a little bit harder, okay? And this is all about getting some energy back, some emotional energy. We want to, everyone's always like, stay away from emotional vampires. But we want to make sure that we're not emotionally vampiring ourselves. We can easily suck our own energy by indulging in, indulging like too much in the past and indulging too much in the way everything has happened in the past. Sometimes we really need that fresh perspective to see where we are today. And Crow Spirit is definitely helping you. If you feel like you've been mismanaging your energy, if you feel like, you've been your impulse control has been off, you've been saying things you don't want to say, or you're afraid that you might say things that you don't want to say, then call on Crow Spirit to help you manage that, okay? And perhaps with the Queen of Swords here, writing things down, journaling, talking, sharing with the appropriate people will help get some of those feelings, those intense feelings out of there, okay? And I'm guessing with the Moon Pluto, some of you are extremely interesting writers, and what you have to say is extremely poignant, okay? So don't discount that, okay? Pile number 2, or number 1, sorry, I almost called you pile number 2. Thank you so much, pile number 1, and I hope that reading resonated for you, my lovelies, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and your feedback. Let's move on to pile number 2. Oopsies. Okay, pile number 2. Let's do it. Alrighty. Pile number 2, welcome to your reading. You chose the black tea light, and today's reading is called Crow Spirit, a clever and mysterious guide for your transformation, okay? So we are going to go ahead and get into it. I'm using my vampire deck for you guys. It's very fitting for all things Crow Spirit. Of course, you chose the black tea light. Black is the color of Saturn, and Saturn rides a crow. That is the vehicle for Saturn, for Shani. So let's go ahead and see. Crows representing the bridge between the spiritual world and the material world. Let's go ahead and see, what is the Crow Spirit message here for my pile number 2s? Crow Spirit, what is your message? Ooh, there's the moon. Ooh, I got chills there for a second, pile number 2. My witchy witches in pile number 2. All right, let's see. Perhaps you guys are like, I already talk to crows all the time, Natalie. This is just, maybe you have a crow friend. All right, let's see here what we've got. Let's get some cards out. Ooh, we have the 8 of Wands. Quick and fast reactions to what is happening. Looks like this guy is jumping off the side of an edge, but it's looked like he's about ready to attack, and he's got some wind at his back. So let's see here for Crow Spirit, for my beautiful pile number 2s. We have balance. Wow, what's so interesting is Justice card came up in pile number 1. Now we're getting balance in this deck, which is Temperance. And it says the need for balance and moderation. Yes, Crow Spirit is very good for impulse control, cooperation, and compromise. Wait for perfect timing. Yeah, well, the 8 of Scepters, or the 8 of Wands, can really be about rushing or pushing something forward too fast, or doing something hastily, or doing something without really thinking about it. And the 8 of Wands is a very impulsive type of an energy. I love the 8 of Wands, but sometimes a situation needs more finessing, and Crow Spirit is very good for that finessing type of an energy. We have here material harvest. Excellent. This is the 9 of Pentacles. Very good. I like that. Material harvest. And we have here, we've got the Devil card and temptation. So the tendency to go overboard, or the tendency to be tempted into doing things that we shouldn't be doing. Now, pile number 2, do you guys get going on something and you're sticking to a really good routine? You're working out every day, or you're drinking your water, or you're eating the right foods, or you've committed to like some new weekly routine that you're doing, or you're like, I'm going to, not spend as much money. I'm going to take this money and put it over here. I'm going to balance my finances. I'm going to be responsible with my harvest and my material harvest and the things that I'm gained. And then at times do you find yourself just completely like taking all that you've done and just kind of, losing your ground with it, or flushing it down the toilet. A lot of us do that. Like, we start off the beginning of the week with the best intentions, but by Thursday or Friday, we've like, we really we really have fallen prey, to our own. We sometimes, with the devil card, it can just be as simple as lacking discipline or lacking follow through, where if we had a little bit more discipline or follow through, or if we were willing to look at, because discipline and follow through, especially, with the Eight of Wands, I just want to say the Eight of Wands can definitely be like an ADD type of an energy, or not able to sit still, or, and sometimes we have to address the root of why, I have some friends in my life has real tough issues with focus and discipline. And I mean, it's in their natal chart, it's in their astrology chart, but we have to find out a way that we can reward ourselves for the good things that we've been doing without destroying our progress, and I love the crow spirit, because the crow spirit is associated with Saturn, especially in Vedic astrology, because Shani is riding a crow. So that is the vehicle of Saturn. And Saturn does talk about longevity and focus. And the crows are like very misunderstood birds, a lot of times they were feared in cultures and things like that. And I feel like for you guys, it's interesting, because it's like, okay, either I can be an angel and a saint and do everything wonderful, but if I do one thing wrong, or if I give in to one temptation, it's like everything's ruined, and you guys having like a squeaky clean reputation, and then all of a sudden, something goes down the tubes. And, it's so interesting with Saturn. And of course, Saturn is associated with the devil. It's so interesting with Saturn, because sometimes it makes us feel like we can't get away with shit. And if Saturn catches us slipping even one tiny inch, we're going to get our butt smacked, and that may make a person a little angry. This Eight of Wands here looks a little angry. Woo! Here we have Mars. So of course there's a little bit of, pent up energy with Mars, or perhaps a little anger, or perhaps a little aggression. It's like, I'm doing so well, and then, I just fuck right off. And, this is where we can get, Mars is wonderful to help us push through obstacles, but Mars can also be out of control at times, okay? And we have Mercury. Wow, Mars and a Mercury conjunction here. And when we have motion and messages, it just means that things are coming in really, really fast. And it's hard, like we can start out the day meditating. Hey, I'm going to wake up 20 minutes early. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to da-da-da-da-da. But then as soon as we get into our day, like we deal with one asshole and it throws us off, and we lose our temper, and we, start getting real pissed off, or we get in a fight with somebody, or all of a sudden there's 1,000 requests coming through our email and it's very overwhelming. This is that's a Mars Mercury type of a situation. And we're about to go into a Mercury retrograde anyway, which I always tell people, be careful of what you're saying, be careful of how you say it, because other people can be very unhinged during these times, okay? And but interesting energy. So Mars Mercury talks about having to make really quick decisions, perhaps with limited information. And one thing I wrote down is sudden upheavals or other people's drama ruffling your feathers, okay? And that could definitely be where we need to call in the crow spirit energy to help us step back, take a deep breath, and look at problems from a different perspective instead of just rushing into the easy solution, you know, or just rushing into the easy, okay? And also, I kind of feel Mars Mercury is kind of that energy of like, well, fuck it, I don't care anymore, I already messed up, so I'm just gonna go balls to the wall, you know? And so maybe there's a need to try to rein some of that energy in. Pile number 2, okay? We have the Prince of Knives, okay? And we have the Empress here. I also feel fighting with someone, especially with Mercury Mars, that can definitely talk about, you know, verbal altercations with people, okay? And the temptation is there, you know, to snap. If somebody at work is pushing your buttons or saying shit, if your significant other is pushing your buttons and saying shit, if, you know, a friend or a family member, I'm particularly getting a romantic situation or a work situation where someone is talking shit, where someone is saying too much, where somebody is pushing your buttons. Now, you can only be a self-contained Mother Teresa for so long before you just literally spit nails at someone, you know? And I get it. I feel you guys have been very gracious, and you've been very, you know, you've listened to this other person, you've been very polite, you've heard their thoughts and their opinions, you've like, and at some point, I feel like you guys are just like, enough is enough, okay? And some of you may be very tempted to go off, is what I'm feeling, okay? And oh, you know, it's so funny, when I started pile number 1, I said I never draw the World card anymore. And look at this. I love that. I knew it. I knew I would get it. And look, in the background of the World card is a crow, is a black bird. How fascinating. We also see a black panther. We see a snake here too. And working with these energies of self-containment, self-control, maturity, right? And I love that for you guys, because I feel like you are really mature. I feel like you do handle situations well, pile number 2, but you know, you can only take so much, I feel, okay? And perhaps something needs to come to an end here. Perhaps something, the way that you've been, and I see she's like she's sitting in like a garden of snakes, or she's kneeling on a bunch of snakes, and she's holding on to a snake. She's holding on to that raw primal energy and looking at it directly in the eye. She looks like she's about ready to swallow this snake, which is very much like an Ouroboros type of a thing, okay? What goes around comes around, says Saturn, right? And Saturn has a feminine side to it that's very devouring and very punishing. And yeah, I don't think people want to see that side of pile number 2, but anyway, we have the 3 of Skulls here, and we have the Ace of Knives, which is the Ace of Swords. And I feel some of you are going to be looking for a new job, or looking for perhaps looking around, interviewing. I'm getting something about the workplace, okay? And I'm getting something about you guys being like, okay, I'm patience of a saint. I'm gonna like, you know, I'm on a good path here. I'm not gonna ruin it, but there's that temptation to really give someone a piece of your mind, or there's that temptation to snap back at somebody who's been very out of line with you. I feel pile number 2, okay? And, you know, I feel like I just got the message, hold your tongue, okay? So perhaps you're needing to hold back something that you're saying and wait for, you know, the right opportunity to say something, or the right opportunity to fill someone in on what's going on here, okay? And I know you've been patient, and I know you've been working hard, pile number 2, but I think you're going to be, and of course, you know, the Crow Spirit definitely recognizes that ingenuity and that patience. I will also say the other thing about Crow Spirit is very clever and inventive, and the Three of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords is very clever and inventive. And I feel like there's an end to a collaboration that you've been having with someone, pile number 2, because someone is all talk. This Prince of Knives is all talk, and, you know, all bark and no bite, or just all talk. And I feel like you've been carrying the weight, the Empress in the World, like you've been carrying the weight of a project, or the weight of, you know, a household, or the weight of a situation. Like you've been carrying the weight of that. And I feel this other person is just all talk and not ready for the level of quality and maturity that you bring to something. And this person, I feel like, oh yeah, I'm gonna help you. I'm definitely gonna help you. Yeah, oh yeah. Or yeah, I'm definitely gonna see you on Friday. Or yeah, I'm definitely gonna help you with that. Or giving a lot of lip service to what they're gonna do to help you. But at the end of the day, this person doesn't do much. And I feel, you know, being extremely self-reliant and treating yourself well is something that pays off for you at this time, because I do feel like there's somebody that's yapping their trap but doesn't bring a whole lot of value to the table. And this person may like go against your ideas, or they may always have something to say about your plans or your ideas. And it's like, you know, why do I even care anymore? And I feel like you guys are getting to that place. Now, one thing I will say with Crow Spirit is that it's very practical in a way, because crows are actually very good at making tools. Like they will make the tool themselves, and then they will forage for food using that tool to like stick it into tiny little holes to bring the food out. How inventive is that, right? And, you know, the Ace of Swords and the Three of Pentacles is extremely good problem solving skills. And, you know, I feel like even if this person does leave you in a bind, or does leave you in a position where you have to just shut something down, or you have to start over, or you can't rely on them because they're not helping with things, I feel like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, pile number 2, because you have so many like good ideas that are practical and problem solving measures that you can take to remedy the situation. And for anybody here who like sews, or like you make things yourself, whether you make, you know, some people do like, what's the word when you, is it canning? Or where you ferment foods and you keep them. Is that called canning? I can't think of the word right now. Perhaps some of you do that type of thing, or you can sew, or you have some type of talent. I feel like pile number 2, you could have some very, like you have a lot of talents, I feel, and you can do a lot of things. Perhaps some of you are very good at fixing things, or you're very good at rigging something, or you're very good at, you know, like if, for example, something's going on with like a machine's broken or something, you go tinker with it and all of a sudden it's fixed. Or, you know, there's something going wrong on a project, you go and tinker with it for a minute and then it's running again, you know? And I kind of feel that energy with you guys here. Mercury Mars is also a very technical mind that's driven to solve problems. And, you know, instead of giving in to the moment and like losing your shit, pile number 2, I also feel like, you know, that very technical driven mind to solve problems that you have is what is going to save the day at the end of everything. And I honestly feel you're going to find out, I don't really need this person anyway. Like, whatever they're trying to, whatever they were tempting you with, or tempting you to say something, or tempting you to tell them too much, or hand over something to them that you shouldn't be handing over to them, Like, I honestly feel like you're just like, no, I'm not going to do that. You know, I can do this myself. And I feel you guys are no stranger to like doing things yourself. Now, here's anger, okay? So definitely with Mars Mercury, like saying shit that you're tempted, I feel, pile number 2, to say something that because somebody's pissing you off. Now, this could be a situation, this could be other people's drama or other people's shit. But ultimately, I feel like Crow Spirit is saying don't get involved in other people's drama and other people's shit. I know you want to say something. I know you're pissed. I know you're annoyed, pile number 2. But I also think at this point, the best thing you can do to make yourself really stand out and look good in this situation is come up with creative solutions to creative, practical solutions that are very sharp and intelligent. And that's ultimately what's going to get you the most recognition, I feel, pile number 2. Okay, so I know you're mad. I know this person's been out of pocket. I know they're out of line. I know they're acting shitty, but I also just feel, you know, temperance here, cooperation and compromise. Wait for the perfect timing to say something, Ace of Swords. Wait for the perfect timing to say something or do something. Don't just come out with it, okay? And let's go ahead and see. Spirit, can I get a little more here on this Mars Mercury, here on this Mars Mercury? I have, in my chart, you guys, I have Mars square Mercury exact. And boy, oh man, I can say some stuff sometimes. But you have to know what's the time, what's the right time for this type of thing. Am I doing more harm than good? Am I limiting my own chances or opportunities when I actually could just let the moment pass me by and then do something different? So let's see here. Mercury Mars. Can I get a little information about the Mercury Mars here, please? 1, 2, 3. We've got reflection. Yeah, reflect. Sometimes people really piss us off, and then we have to think about, you know, what qualities in them do I not like? You know, is this person acting like a know-it-all? Are they acting like they know what you should be doing? Are they acting like they're actually contributing to something when they're not, you know? I mean, we should look at that, right? We should always look at our enemies and see what they have going on and see if, you know, see what's going on. We have sweetness here. Oh, well, that's interesting with Mercury Mars. I wouldn't necessarily. Sweetness and creativity. Oh, I love that. Okay, caution. All right. Sweetness, creativity, caution. So I also feel pile number 2, do not let anyone take advantage of you, okay? If you're being really nice and you're sharing ideas with someone, or you're, you know, telling them that they're doing a good job with something because you want to encourage them, I also feel like this can be a problem too. If the truth needs to be told, you know? And, you know, with Mercury Mars, I mean, somebody needs to get back on track, and a truth needs to be told, okay? And sometimes we can get very, like, you know, there's 2 sides to the coin here, I feel, pile number 2, because we can enable people to keep doing shitty things by encouraging them when we know we should just be telling them the truth, okay? And then we get really mad, anger, okay? Or we can just be very harsh with people. And I feel like you guys know that there are times when you can be very harsh with people. And so you do your best to encourage other people, and you do your best to appreciate other people's talents. But I also feel like, you know, if you're being a little too allowing, or you're being a little too, you know, if you're gassing someone up and you really don't mean it, then perhaps that can be an issue here too. Or if you are agreeing to help someone with something and they try to steal your ideas, or you're being really nice and you're really trying to help somebody, but they don't really want that help, or they're not really, you know, this sweetness and creativity with caution tells me something about being too nice and too allowing and letting people take advantage and then getting mad about it, okay? And that can also mean about being too open with people about your ideas or what you're working on because you're wanting to be nice, or letting people participate in what you're doing because you don't want them to feel left out, or this type of thing. But we have to be really careful with that. And I do like Mars Mercury because in a way it helps us like defend our ideas. It helps us communicate in a very assertive manner. It helps us, you know, when we need to say like, this isn't right, or I need to stand up for myself. You know, Mars Mercury is very, very good for that. But I also think that there is a time and place. And with this reflection card, maybe it's asking you to reflect on what times you've been maybe you've been a little too nice, or you've been a little too open, or you've been, you know, times when you've participated in this dynamic, okay? And I love the energy of Saturn because it helps us mature out of these behaviors, and it helps us be more boundaried about, and I love that with the World card. It helps us know when it's time to say something and when it is appropriate to say something. Also, I would say here, if somebody's being really, really nicey nice to you and like showering you with praise, but you have a feeling that they're not really helpful, or they're not really like, you know, they're not really that good for what you're trying to do, then I would just be careful of that, okay? And I would just be careful of saying too much to the wrong people. I would keep things to yourself, okay? Pile number 2, that is the energy that I am getting for you, my loves. And I hope you guys have a good one, okay? Pile number 2, and be kind to yourselves and to one another. I sound like I'm on the reading rainbow with that one. But anyway, thank you so much, pile number 2, and take care. Let's move on to pile number 3. Okay. Pile number 3, welcome to your reading. You chose the white tea light, and today's reading is talking about the crow spirit. We're talking about the clever, mysterious, and transformational crow energy. Okay, and so far each pile has been a little bit different. Let's see what's in store for you, pile number 3, who chose this amazing colorful deck and the white tea light. I love it because they match. Isn't that pretty? Let's go ahead and see what message does Crow Spirit have for pile number 3, please. What message does Crow Spirit have for pile number 3? Let us see. Crow Spirit for pile number 3. Hit us with something good, right? And let's check it out. Knight of Swords. I like that. Well, Crow Spirit, very intelligent animals. Crows are right up there with dolphins, primates, and other like very, very smart animals. So I like that. And they're also very creative problem solvers and very inventive. So I love that energy with the Knight of Swords coming up here. That's already touching you guys in this reading. I feel like a lot of you here could be very creative. You have very unique ideas about things. You have a very unique way of expressing yourself. Perhaps some of you have a very unique or different voice, okay? And we have the 4 of Water. It says missing an opportunity, discontentment, or boredom. Open your eyes to the possibilities. I love that. If you've been feeling kind of blah lately, I mean, we're in that blah energy, I feel right now. We're in a Venus retrograde. Mercury's about to go retrograde. It's the end of the summer. It's kind of that energy. So I don't blame you if you're feeling like it's blah. Pile number 3, we have triumphant success and the Ace of Swords. I love that. Cutting you right out of that blah energy and putting you right back into an energy of curious learning and acknowledging how far you've come, Ooh, we have the sacral chakra. I like that. Some of you may be getting a message from somebody that you've really been wanting to hear from. And I love the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords, very Aquarius type energy. Perhaps some of you are waiting to hear from an air sign or an Aquarius. But I feel like, whoa, you know, creative ideas. If you've been in a slump and you're like, you know, I just really don't have anything right now. I don't really, like, I don't feel like I'm interesting. I don't feel like I have any ideas. I feel like my head's full of water. I'm not really like sharp like I normally am. Perhaps some of you are needing a detox, or you're needing a mental or emotional cleansing with this Ace of Swords and sacral chakra. And, or perhaps some of you are needing movement, dance, breath work, all the stuff. We have, oh, Sagittarius. Ooh, you guys love an adventure, don't you? And just having something to look forward to in life. Like, we need something to look forward to. If we don't have like a future event to look forward to, every day starts to feel monotonous. It starts to feel boring. It starts to feel overwhelming, and it just feels lifeless, you know? And I feel like you guys are like very interesting, intriguing people, but perhaps you haven't been feeling that way. Pile number 3, okay? We've got Libra and balance. So we have Sagittarius and Libra. And I feel some of you are needing to move in a new direction artistically, or you're needing to try some new things, or you need to get out more, or perhaps some of you are needing to balance your work and your play. Or you've just been having the same routine, or you feel kind of bored, or you just feel restless. But I also feel some of you here are looking for excitement in relationships, or you're looking for movement and excitement and sexual, you know, chemistry and fulfillment in your relationships, okay? And if for those of you that are in relationships, if you've been feeling very bored, but you're talking to someone else, but you're whatever you got going on, I'm not going to judge you, pile number 3, but you know, I feel you guys need to keep your minds busy and entertained here with this Libra energy, but you also need to get up and do stuff. Like, you need to go places, you need to try new things, perhaps new foods, perhaps going to different places, perhaps getting off your ass and doing some, you know, dancing or doing some exercise or that type of thing is really nice for you guys, because, you know, I feel like lately maybe things have been very dull. And, you know, crow spirit is very mysterious, and it definitely brings that mysterious, you know, energy into our life. And perhaps some of you have also been kind of sad as well because something didn't work out like you wanted it to, or a plan didn't come to fruition like you wanted it to. Perhaps some of you have been very emotional, or you've been very sad about something, or you've been kind of down in the dumps about something, or bored, or just sick of the way that things are for you, you know? And sometimes it's not necessarily a situation you're sick of, it's just, my life always seems to go this way and it blows and I'm tired of it. And I feel, you know, what you guys need with the sacral chakra and Ace of Swords is new inspiration, you know, new ideas, new inspiration, and balancing your life out with some other things, okay? And perhaps some of you are looking for somebody like fun and exciting to talk to as well with this Knight of Swords, or you're looking to get that blood pumping. Pile number 3 with this Sagittarius and sacral chakra. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Oh, we have the Ace of Cups. I love it. Something coming to replenish your cup and to add to your cup. Oh, wow. We have the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. Like, you guys are needing new, fresh energy because life can get very suffocating. And sometimes things get very predictable, which can feel very safe. But also, crow spirit energy has to do with being open and adaptable to new situations. And I love Sagittarius energy for that because it is a mutable fire sign. So it actively seeks situations that it can be adaptable in. And I really, really like that. Perhaps some of you Sages or Libras are trying to go out with a Sag or a Libra, or perhaps somebody here is in a romantic connection with a Sag or a Libra. Okay. And, yeah, so, you know, Crow's all about clever, energy, intelligent, Knight of Swords. I feel some of you here too, like in order to be sexually attracted or in order to be physically engaged with someone, I feel the mental has to be there as well. With the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords, perhaps you guys fall in love with someone's mind first, but you know, the Ace of Cups or the Ace of Swords is all about being open to whatever comes your way, you know? And it's like, okay, if I make a new friend, cool. If actually this person is more than a friend and I actually start having feelings for them and they become more than a friend, cool. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll take either Ace of Swords, Ace of Cups. I just want to mix it up a little bit, okay? And so I see you guys stirring the pot. Pile number 3. Are you guys stirring the pot a little bit? Ooh, wow. We have the Lovers. Hey now. Pile number 3. Looking to bring that back into your life. We have the Page of Pentacles. You're like, I did it. Wow. And just that ability to like be turned on by something again is something to be like proud of, you know? And I feel there's so many reasons for you guys to be proud of yourself and that you're getting, because I feel like at times maybe perhaps you get comfortable in situations or you get comfortable with your day-to-day, and it can be hard when we get into a routine or habit to like open ourselves up to new things. But I feel like you guys are ready to put your energy into something that's blossoming very nicely here. Pile number 3. And you know, Crows are associated with wisdom, and Page of Pentacles sits the lowest on the tree of life. It represents that earth of earth energy, but it's also very wisdom bearing in a lot of ways. And it is about study and learning and dedication to a particular thing. And I feel like you guys have really been putting effort into knowing yourself, understanding yourself, healing from things in the past, taking care of yourself physically, all the things that you've been doing to help open yourself up, okay? Very good energy. Okay, we have the 2 of Wands. I love that. You see how the planet can barely fit in that doorway, can barely fit in between there. I'm like, whoa, that's a big planet. Okay. Things may appear closer than they actually are, or objects are actually larger than they appear, or whatever. But the 2 of Wands. So I feel like, you know, it's you guys actively seeking out what it is that you want, making plans. Perhaps, you know, the 2 of Wands can be travel, going on a road trip, taking on new situations, even if it feels overwhelming, or even if it feels like it's too much, or even if it feels like, gosh, I don't know if I'll ever get there. It's just so much. It's just so much I have to do. I feel like, how do you, you know, as they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And, you know, Page of Pentacles and 2 of Wands, I feel like is very good energy for putting yourself out there, getting to know people, traveling, making plans, taking the necessary steps. Because we don't just want to have like pie in the sky dreams. We want to also be able to take action and practical planning towards that. And with the Page of Pentacles and the 2 of Wands, perhaps you guys would like to see someone, or perhaps there's a lover that you would like to spend time with or see. And it's just going to take some planning and some opportunities, okay? But if you had a missed opportunity in the past, pile number 3, I feel like if you're like, you know, I once, because I was too shy, or because I was too this, or because I was, you know, caring for the needs of everyone else, or because I was, you know, like so busy worried about what other people would think, I missed this opportunity towards someone that I really, really liked, or I missed an opportunity to connect with someone that I really, really would have liked to talk to. And honestly, I feel like here, I feel somebody could be reaching out to you with this Ace of Swords. We have it twice here. I also feel somebody could be declaring their feelings to you, pile number 3, or declaring their love, or declaring their feelings to you. And I feel like you guys are more motivated than ever with the Two of Wands and Page of Pentacles. You're like, I'm not going to get caught slipping again. I'm going to make sure I plan this thing. I'm going to make sure everything goes my way. I'm going to not let myself get intimidated by the process. I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. You know, I'm not going to let my shyness or let my, I'm too busy like staring at my shoes to actually say something or do something. Perhaps some of you had a really cool encounter with someone and you're like, I wish I would have asked them out, or I wish I just would have said something. And I love that because I feel like, you're changing. And if you sense a vibe with someone, or if you sense an energy, or there could be a thing going on, I feel like you guys are going to say something, and I feel like you're becoming more risk-taking and adventurous about, like your relationships, your love life, about saying what's on your mind, communicating what you want and need sexually is also what I'm feeling here, pile number 3. But I feel you're just becoming bold. You're making a plan, you're sticking to it, you're holding yourself accountable, and you're becoming bold about what you want to do, about what you want to say and do. Okay? And the Crow Spirit actually encourages us to be very adaptable, okay? And to be open and, to basically, realize our mistakes in the past and realize maybe where we got caught slipping in the past, but just, not let it be, that doesn't have to be the whole future. Things do change. They do get better. And perhaps in the past with the 8 of Swords on the bottom of the deck, you guys would wait around a lot, or there'd be a lot of indecision about what you wanted to do, and then the moment would slip you by. But, I really don't feel like you're doing that anymore, pile number 3. And I do feel some of you could be hearing from somebody, perhaps a long-lost lover, perhaps somebody who's at a distance from you, perhaps somebody that hasn't stopped thinking about you for a while, perhaps somebody that actually you've been on their mind, okay, in a romantic sense. You've been on my mind, always on my mind. And I feel like if the opportunity comes up, you guys are not going to delay on it, because life is short, right? And how can we figure out if there actually is something here if we don't actually just go for it? Okay, so good for you. And Crow Spirit has to do with, if we're not really appreciating Crow Spirit like we should be, then we may be resisting change and living in denial. And I think the 4 of Cups definitely kind of speaks to that energy of being a little bit in denial and resisting change. But I actually feel like something comes out of nowhere, pile number 3, that just wakes you up and you're like, oh, I know what I need to do now. I know what I need to say now. Okay, and it's a welcome change, I feel, for you. Spirit, can you tell me a little bit more about this Sagittarius and Libra energy right here? Okay, because that Sagittarian energy about expanding into the future, expanding into something better, okay? And I feel like you guys are wise. You don't have to worry about overdoing it, or you're gonna keep yourself in check, okay? And I just saw pain pop up there. So perhaps there was some emotional pain with that 4 of Cups that you guys have been working through. Can you show me needing to move beyond some of that old emotional pain? Ideation, yeah, that whole sense of, and here's the thing, like when we first meet someone and we talk to someone, we are like, wow, they're so great, they're so wonderful. But I think that's where this balance energy comes in here, and the Page of Pentacles. And I love that, because that's more of the practical side of things. Look, I like this person, I'm into them, I enjoy talking to them, I want to see them, I think they're hot. They think I'm hot, they want to see me too, but I'm not going to put this person on a pedestal and, totally rearrange everything in my life. Like, things have to be organized and practical, and they need to make sense too. We have Ghost here, we have movement, and we have abundance. Actually, a situation that you guys thought was dead or wasn't going anywhere, or was, like nothing or was amounting, you're like, this is not amounting to shit. You know what I'm saying, pile number 3? All of a sudden comes roaring back into your life with movement and abundance, and it's ample. You know, it all of a sudden comes back in a way that's like, whoo, I wasn't expecting that, but okay. But honestly, I feel you guys are a lot more balanced about it this time because you're realistic with the Page of Pentacles, and you're not trying to bite off more than you can chew. You do want to move something forward, but you're also realistic at the same time too, pile number 3. Okay, and just when you hit like your lowest point of despair, you know, and crows often have to do with mourning, you know, and things that are dying or things that have disappeared, and you know, that sense of like feeling like, well, shit, you know, like this sucks, or this amounted to nothing, all of a sudden comes back into your life with a vengeance, and not in a bad way, but a good way. Something that you thought that wasn't going to happen, wasn't going to work, was just dead in the water. It actually, like, you know, comes back to you. And they always say that if you let something go and see if it comes back to you. And if it does, then it's meant for you, you know? And I feel some of you are really going, as you've learned more about yourself and as you've become wise and realistic and more like grounding in the wisdom of everything, I do feel like things are moving forward, okay? And something that was stagnating and disappearing is coming back to you. Pile number 3, okay? And that is the crow spirit energy that you are receiving if you choose to be open to that. So thank you so much, pile number 3. And thank you to everyone who came to their reading today. Many blessings and take care.